All righty, everyone, thank you so much for joining. We're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm your host, Ryan O'Donnell. I'm the founder and CEO of Employ Us, and our host today for the third installment of our Quick Hit webinar series about employee referrals. This is something that Hireology does to make some short, digestible, about 15-minute segments. And in this series, we've been doing all of our sessions on employee referrals. We've talked so far about how to start a program, how do you get the right policy in place. We've talked about how to boost participation in your program. And today we're going to be diving into creative ways to communicate your employee referral program to your employees. We're going to talk about some things that have worked really well internally for us. We like to eat our own dog food here at Hireology, and also highlight a couple customer examples of people who have done some really amazing things to promote their referral program. We're going to talk about the channels you need to use. We're going to talk about how often you should be communicating. We're going to talk about different strategies that you can implement to get more employees referring. So with that, if you haven't heard me say it a million times already, referred applicants are more qualified, referred candidates get hired faster, and referred employees, they stick around longer. We love referrals because they tend to be some of our best candidates. At Hireology, we know that about 10% of all referrals actually get hired, which is about 4 times better than the next source of Indeed. So, we love referrals, and we know that they are some of our best sources of new hires. And when we look at what it takes to run a successful referral program, it's really all about communicating the program. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to companies that have a referral program in place, but they're just not seeing the results. They've got something, they have a policy stashed away somewhere. Sometimes even folks in HR and recruiting aren't necessarily aware how the program works. And you might be wondering, what are we doing wrong here? We've got a program in place. We're offering, large sums of money. We've got resources dedicated to having a successful referral program. Why isn't it working? And simply put, if employees don't know about the referral program, they're probably not going to refer. This is especially true if a lot of your employees are remote, or if you're working kind of decentralized. We've got a lot of customers in the healthcare space, in retail, where it's not as simple as just having everyone in a single room. You've got a lot of different employees all scattered about. So what we really want to be able to focus on, in today's session is just about how can you have the right communication strategy to promote the best referral program. We know that people often need to hear things multiple times for it to sink in. We talked about that last time. And we know that most employees are overloaded with content coming out from both their company as well as just their own lives. We've all got a lot of emails, social feeds are always full. So there's so much content out there. We've got to find out good strategies for cutting through the noise and making sure that employees who, they're not hired to recruit, it's not their full-time job, can play a part and really be a great member of the recruiting team. So today we're going to talk about 4 channels that you can use to drive your referral program. The first one is about physical signage, then email copy, and we'll talk through some text campaigns, as well as social media. So to dive in on physical signage, I want you to think about flyers being placed around your workplace where people frequently visit. If you're not in a traditional office, this might mean physical signage at your retail store. At the front door, a lot of companies will have signs encouraging people to apply for jobs. We've seen companies do the exact same, bars, restaurants, healthcare facilities, having some signage promoting your jobs to both the people walking in as well as to your employees. Having things like a QR code where you can promote your referral program is a great example of that. At Hireology, we have a weekly all-hand company huddle, and this is a priority topic in every single slide. We'll typically have a different member of the team talk about a role that they are currently hiring for, give a little bit of context so everyone knows kind of what are we looking for. Talk about if we're offering an enhanced bonus. This is a great opportunity to highlight those types of things. And then there's a QR code there. All of the employees are watching this presentation each week, so they can easily pull up their phone, scan the QR code, and submit a referral right there. So it's a really easy way while people are in a meeting to take some action. And it's a really easy call to action, whether you're in a training session, whether you're in a weekly huddle. Those types of things are really easy to get people involved and participating on the spot. The other type is really all about physical signage, like I was saying, in store, well-trafficked areas, break rooms, meeting rooms. We've had some companies actually put up flyers in their bathrooms. So as you're leaving the bathroom, they have a call to action to refer someone on your way to your desk. It works incredibly well. I'm always surprised when I hear some crazy stories from customers about what's working and what's not working. And they've found that putting them in places that are well trafficked is a great way to promote the referral program. It really removes all the barriers. We've also seen some companies that they'll print out like small cards and they'll put them on employees' desks. Little stands with 5x7 index card sized reminder about the referral program. And they'll put those up in break rooms, they'll put them in their conference rooms so that it is kind of a constant reminder for folks to refer. So that's all about physical signage. Now we're going to talk about email campaigns. So email campaigns are really great, especially if you're a company where most of your employees are more desk-based as opposed to being out and about. They're already used to communicating via email. And we know that a lot of companies are already sending, some form of email communication to promote their referral program. Oftentimes, what that looks like is a blanket email to the whole company once or twice a year asking for referrals. And what I want you to walk away from today's session with is to think about breaking that up into a lot of smaller, more targeted campaigns. So you see here some of the examples we have here are highlighting, for example, an open account executive role. It's important to segment your campaigns to different audiences so that you can send more campaigns that are more targeted to the right audience. So rather than sending the same thing to everyone, if you make it more personalized, you're more likely to get better results. This is an example campaign from one of our customers. They kept the email short and sweet to the point. They actually highlighted this campaign to all of their US-based employees within a single department. This was a group of just a couple hundred employees, a much smaller subset from the rest of the organization, but they only highlighted roles within that department. You can see an example here. They encouraged people to check their LinkedIn network to see if they knew anyone. And then they started split testing this. They had certain campaigns that would go out to, this example was for the United States. They had a different campaign for their colleagues across the pond. So, we've seen that these short, simple, targeted campaigns can be much more effective. This one, for example, it took about 5 minutes to set up. They launched it. They got about 12 referrals and hired 2 people from one campaign. So you can see here, it's not a huge effort, but you want to make sure that you can have some targeted campaigns and test out what's the right subject line. Let's be really specific. We're offering an enhanced bonus. So let's highlight that, get it in people's inboxes, and then get some referrals coming in. The other important thing is actually tracking, like how many people are actually clicking on our email campaigns, how many referrals and hires are coming from them. When you do only one campaign a year, you can see exactly what those results are. But if you're doing lots of campaigns throughout, you can easily see what campaigns are the most effective. When's the right time of day? Speaking from experience, Fridays are the worst time to send the campaign asking for referrals. Monday morning is the highest likelihood that you've got candidates looking at jobs. And we found that sending referral campaigns earlier in the week typically lead to better results. The next thing we'll talk about is all about text campaigns. This is a really great way to reach your employees, especially if they're not at an office all day long. So if your company has a large workforce that's either retail, they're working in bars, restaurants, hotels. We've seen a lot of companies in the more hospitality space where if they send an email to all of their employees, they know they might get only 10 people clicking it. But if they sent out a text message, they'd get thousands of responses. So where email might get lost or cluttered or just simply ignored, text campaigns can be a great way to enhance your referral program. We've seen that in general, for some companies, they'll get 2 to 3 times the amount of engagement when they encourage people to refer via text message. Here are a couple examples of that. You keep the message short, concise, to the point, just like your emails. But in here, we're telling people about the referral program. We're highlighting how much are we offering. We're going to tell them that if they want to opt out, all they have to do is text stop. That's a critical thing to make sure that your messages don't get blocked and that you're adhering by all the regulations around sending text messages to your employees. I'll often get questions, how do I do that if employees haven't already opted in for texting for a referral program? And the regulations actually just require that employees have provided their phone number in any form. And as long as you have clear opt-out instructions, you can send them messages like this, encouraging them to share jobs and learn more about what your company is offering from a referral program perspective. Some extra tips here, just in terms of personalizing the message. We often encourage folks to focus these campaigns, especially if you're more mobile workforce, around certain triggers, like sending out a campaign to welcome new hires and then following up, on their first month, their first 3 months, setting up campaigns where it's, regularly scheduled to employees can be a great way to make sure that everyone is receiving communication, but also making sure that you're not over communicating it. You want to make it easy for them to refer without having to switch multiple devices. You want to make it really easy for them to refer also without having to, look at a lot of different text messages, throughout, if you're blowing up their phone, they're going to be more likely to start unsubscribing. So that's where it might be helpful to send out, only a few text messages, where you might send more emails, or you might send more targeted text messages, like only sending messages to employees who have referred in the past. We'll often encourage clients to do a kickoff email campaign to the whole organization, and then follow up with a text message to anyone who's actually engaged and has submitted a referral. Those are your best promoters and advocates. So they're more likely to refer if you encourage them and send them additional messages. One thing, if you're not using a tool like Employ Us, that's super important, is if you're sending text messages, you've got to make sure that you don't send another message to an employee if they unsubscribed. It's super frustrating, as we all know, to get unsolicited text messages. So you've got to make sure that you have an easy way to track that. If you're using Employ Us, you don't have to worry about it. It's all tracked automatically, so anyone can unsubscribe at any time. Some other examples of ways that you can do this is really just by driving traffic through text message campaigns. Again, the chatbot will just pick that right up and encourage them to submit all of their information right there. So there's really no barrier for someone when they're wanting to refer. They can easily get that text message, say they want to refer someone, and then submit a referral like 30 seconds later on their phone. The last category that we're going to talk about today is all about social media. It's a way that a lot of companies, perhaps are not really promoting their referral program, or don't necessarily think that as an avenue that they can to promote it. But I want to show a couple of examples of ways that you can use social media to drive more employee referrals. So the first thing that I like to do is encourage your employees, your recruiters, and leadership to be actively promoting your jobs on social media. You can see a couple examples here. If you have a referral program that is open to non-employees, you can also highlight that here. You see here an example on the left is one of our customers, Bradley Cooper. They've got besides just a great name, they've got a lot of really active recruiters on social media. They do a lot of hospitality recruiting. They do a lot in retail, and their recruiters are really active on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, even TikTok. And they're constantly telling their followers, that many of them are workers at their company, that they can refer and earn. They can also tell their friends to do the exact same. The example here on the right is an example here at Hireology. So Mike is hiring for his team. If he's sharing that content, I can more easily share that content and do the same. This way, more people are seeing those posts, and candidates are more likely to reach out to employees to ask for referrals. And it's easier for employees to know who might be a good fit, someone who might be a good person to refer. So you can do that a couple of different ways. You can just encourage employees to, share jobs. You can encourage them to, promote the referral program, on their social networks if you want to get referrals from non-employees. We've also seen some clients do some really successful content in just telling job seekers the number one way people get hired here is through employee referrals. So encouraging job seekers, if they know someone at the company, to strike up a conversation, ask them what it's like to work there, and then that could lead to a referral opportunity. A couple of tips for social media. We encourage people in our campaigns and using Employ Us. You can easily check your LinkedIn network to see if you know anyone who would be a good fit. So that's an easy call to action for employees. If you want to get referrals from a larger audience, we encourage you to open that program up and encourage your recruiters and employees to post about your referral program and tell people that you're offering referral bonuses, or that you're just encouraging people to recommend people that they know, in the comments, where then an employee could reach out to them and encourage them to apply. So in summary, there's a lot of great ways to promote your referral program. You can use physical signage, consistent email campaigns that are targeted. And if you've got a workforce where texting would be appropriate, you can send that out to employees that are on the go, want to be able to send referrals quickly. That's really all I've got for today's session. Just before we sign off, I just want to mention, if you haven't heard already, Hireology is doing a great end of year promotion. If you're a new customer, want to try out Employ Us, you can get 50% off your first 6 months. Some restrictions do apply, as always. So if you've got any questions, feel free to talk to your account manager or your sales representative here at Hireology. If you're not a customer, please feel free to visit the URL here to learn more, and we'll follow up with an email over the next few days with all the information that you need. Thank you so much for joining. If you've got any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I'll stick around here for another minute or two, but appreciate everyone tuning in and hearing about how you can promote your referral program. Our next session is going to be Thursday, December 2nd, 2 p.m. Central. We're going to be showing some examples of some successful referral programs. If you want to see some really interesting ways that companies have pulled all of the stuff we've talked about together, tune in again Thursday, December 2nd at 2 p.m. Thanks so much. Appreciate having everybody.